Starting with triangles. Now, some of you might remember triangle means there are, that's right, 3 angles. Count them, 1, 2, 3. All right, in order to do the area formula for a triangle, there's a couple things we need to know. And there's a couple different ways to write the formula. Let me just write it here one way first. What I learned is called 1/2 times b times h, which is 1/2 times the base times the height. But you got to remember something, and this is really critical. This is a huge key item. The height here is the height straight up from the bottom. Just like when you're getting taller, you would rather, you'd like your height to be measured from the ground straight up. If it wasn't measured straight from the ground up, like if we measured it here from this angle, so suppose this is you standing up, right? And we measured your height from out here, you're actually going to be taller than you really are. So an accurate measurement is straight from the bottom. So what that means is down here, there has to be this little mark. If you've seen that before, that's great. If not, it stands for 90-degree angle. 90-degree angle means straight up from the bottom. Straight up is that. So when I'm doing a question like this and I have, let's say, 4 legs, 4 different sides, listen to me talking. 3 different sides on a triangle, 3, 4, and 5. The base is where, however I've drawn it, it's the bottom. So that's the base. So if I had a pretend ground here, here's the ground. I got this triangle. My base is what's on the bottom. And then my straight up distance to the very tippy top, that's the height. So in this case, my base is 3. My height is 4. So when I'm finding the area to this triangle, I would write then area. First I would write the formula, which I already have up here. Always write the formula first. It shows me that you're picking the right formula because we'll have lots of formulas. And then I'm sorry, 1/2 base times height, and then I'm going to write 1/2 times 3 times 4. Do you have to do this, or can I just write the answer? That's a good question. You have to write this. It shows me that you know which number is the base and which number is the height, and you're putting it in there. And then at this point, how well you do your math will depend on what you need to do. I have multiplication, 1/2 times 3 times 4. Since that is what we call commutative, we can do it in any order we want. I'm going to do the 3 times 4 first. And I go 3 times 4, yes, that's 12. So I have 12, and then my 12 is times 1/2, or half of 12, for giving me a total of 6. And then I go, wait, what are my units? So let's say that we had units on here of centimeters. 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 I then have 3 centimeters times 4 centimeters. So centimeters, and the half doesn't have units. Centimeters times centimeters is centimeters squared. That's cm squared. All right, and that's how we do area. Let's take a look at this triangle. This is a little bit different triangle. Let me draw my ground on here. There's my ground. So with respect to the ground, I have, this is my base, and I don't have a number there, so let's give that a value. What do you think? 12? Okay, we'll use 12. All right, and then I've got the height. Now remember, height is measured from the base straight up to the top. That's what this little dashed or dotted line is. It's representing the height. It's not part of the triangle. It's not one of the sides. It's the distance from the bottom to the very tippy top. If I do that, so now I need to have a height. Let's think of a height. What makes for a good height? If that's 12, that's probably like 5. All right. So to find the area, I do the area formula. Area equals 1/2 times base times height. I write 1/2 times 12 times 5 equals, and then I start thinking, all right, well, what do I do here? I like to do the 12 times 5 first before I use the half. Actually, I could do it this way. Let's go, what's 1/2 times 12? Or what's 1/2 of, times is of, 1/2 of 12. Half of 12 is 6. 6 times 5, 30. Oop, I didn't have any units up here. Let's say it's inches. Inches. So my answer will be inches squared, or square inches. All right, area is always measured in square inches. Now I've got this triangle. This triangle is actually called an isosceles triangle because both of these sides have size 6. All right, so I have an isosceles triangle. Isosceles means two sides the same length. Okay, it might look a little confusing, but basically what that means is I have a triangle here whose two sides are the exact same length, and we have a special formula for that. There's the formula. You're like, oh gosh, Mr. Stefan, that looks crazy. It is a little bit, but just follow with me. This bottom down here, the base, is actually what they call A in the formula. So it's like, all right, base before was B, now it's A. It's okay because they call both of these sides the B sides. Because they're both the same thing, they're B and B. All right, and we can change the letters if we want, but let's just go with what the formula, and this is the one that we have on our formula sheet is. And if it's different, we'll just fix it on the formula sheet too. So I look at this formula and say, okay, I need to find A. Oh, A is 4. I need to find B. B is 6. Over here I have to have A, and that's 4. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to plug in everything. Make that a little smaller. I'm going to, okay, area equals A. The A was 4, so I'm going to write 4 over 4. Times square root of 4 times, now what was B? Alright, B was the 6, so I'm going to write 6 squared, because it's B squared, minus, make this a little bit longer, A, what was A? A again was 4, so that's 4 squared. And now, we're just one of those more complicated looking PERMDAS equations. I have to do what's inside parentheses first. And although it's not stated, there's always parentheses inside the square root, so I got to do inside there first. Within here, I've got some squareds going on, I got a minus going on, I got a multiply going on, so I go PERMDAS inside of here, PE exponents. I need to do my exponents first, so I will have 4 times 36 minus 16. It's all inside the square root. Oh, out here, 4 divided by 4, I can just make that a 1 times, because that's easy. All right. So I'm going to, all right, A equals, and I don't have to write the 1 times anymore, so I'll just do this. And now inside the parenthesis, or excuse me, inside the square root, I've got 4 times 36 minus 16. So P, E, I did the E's, R, there are no roots inside. Again, I got to do everything inside first, before I can do the square root. M, multiplying, yes. What is 4 times 36? This is where I grab my handy dandy calculator. That's 144. So I have 144 minus 16. And then I'm going to say, all right, 144 minus 16 is the square root of 128. And then the last thing I need to do is I need to take the square root of 128. Now this is where you got to have a calculator. We'll round it to...
This is a message for all ninth grade.
Got to use a calculator. Slide that all over. So the square root of 128 is 11.3137. So I'll just round to the nearest hundredth, 11.31. And what are my units? Oh, I didn't have units. Let's say my units are meters. Meters. So this would be meters squared since it's area. So the area equals 11.31 square meters. So those are 3 examples of using the formula. All right. What I want you to do now is on your little slip of paper that you're going to write when you hand in, write the word, again, don't forget, put your name on the top, put the date on the top. So that would be Tuesday's date, because that's the video day that we're watching it for homework. And then you're going to do, so your name, the date. Oh, and then I want you to write the word isosceles. Draw a picture of an isosceles triangle different from mine. Write the formula for the area. Do not solve it. All right, but I do want you to tell me what is your A and what is your B based on the picture that you drew. Don't solve it. Don't plug anything in. And then last thing, give me a word sentence that tells me what isosceles means. You might have to back up the video to watch it. All right, so make a little slip of paper, the word isosceles, draw an isosceles triangle with some sides labeled on it. Write the formula, don't solve it, but just the formula, and then give me a word sentence telling me what does isosceles mean, which I told you in the video. You'll have to go back and do it unless you took notes and wrote it down while you were going, which is a good example. That's it, folks. We'll see you in class.